How to solve fractions with radicals. Here we have a radical in the denominator. So this is a different kind of question, because if the fraction had radical in the numerator, then there was no issue. We could have easily simplified the radical itself. 25 times 3 under square root, that means 5 square, times 3 under square root, that means 5 times square root of 3. And let's say the denominator was not 1 but 3 or 4 or 5 or 6, whatever, then the fraction would have been 5 square root of 3 upon 6. So this is the simple way of doing fractions with radicals. But whenever there is a radical in the denominator, it's a different game. Why? Because in the denominator we cannot have a radical, else it won't be a real number. For it real number, we need to have an integer in the denominator and not a radical. So what we do, we rationalize the denominator. Rationalizing the denominator means we multiply and divide it by the denominator. Why we multiply and divide by the denominator? Because you see, even if you do this action, you can easily cancel these two and your fraction remains the same, 1 upon square root of 75. So your original number won't change, but the form will change. That's why we divide and multiply it by the denominator. Since division and multiplication are reciprocal actions, so they cancel each other. Because you know, when A is divided by B, it means A is multiplied to 1 upon B. This is called reciprocal action. So we multiply and divide it by square root of 75. So it is now square root of 75 upon square root of 75 times square root of 75. It will be square root of 75 square. Now this square removes the square root. How? Because when A is under square root, it means A is raised to the power of 1 upon 2. The square root 2 is here, the root. A has the exponent 1. So when we remove the square root, this 2 comes to the denominator and it becomes A raised to the power of 1 upon 2. And when we square it, this becomes A raised to the power of 1 upon 2 times 2. This 2 and this 2 gets cancelled, so it becomes A. So whenever you have to remove the square roots, you square both the sides so that action is balanced. Since we are dividing and multiplying by the same number, so we are balancing the number, not changing the fraction. Now it is square root of 75. This removes the square root, so it is upon 75. Now we can simplify square root of 75. It will be 25 times 3 under square root upon 75. When A times B is under square root, we can also write it as square root of A times square root of B. So this will be square root of 25 times square root of 3 upon 75. Now square root of 25 is 5. So 5 times square root of 3 upon 75. Now we can divide 75 by 5. 15 times 5 is 75 and 5 times 1 is 5. So 5 times 1 is 5 and 5 times 15 is 75. So this is 3 under square root upon 15. That means 1 upon square root of 75 is equal to square root of 3 upon 15. Like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.